Welcome to Sista's Place Inspiration and Entertainment Show interviews with authors, celebs, and much more with hostesses Latrice Carter and Selena Haskins.
Welcome to Sista's Place Podcast. I am your hostess, Latrice Carter, and on today's author spotlight feature, I sit down with debut author Colleen Eccles Penor to talk about her debut novel, Deos, 140 Feet Down. So sit back and grab your favorite drink and get to know our new author spotlight with Colleen Eccles Penor.
Welcome to Sista's Place Podcast. This evening, I have a special guest for my author spotlight. I have Colleen Eccles Penor coming to the show to talk about her debut book, Deos, 140 Feet Down. Welcome to the show, Colleen.
Thank you, Latrice. I'm pleased to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank
you. Tell us a little bit about yourself so that our audience know who you are.
Sure. I'm from Wyoming, born and raised, and I've spent most of my life here. I consider myself to be an author first, but I do take time off from writing each year to work tax season. I'm a certified public accountant, and I'm also a U.S. Army veteran. I served as a military police officer, and while serving, I learned the survival and weapon skills my characters use in Deos 140 Feet Down.
Okay, very nice, very nice. And thank you for serving our country. We truly appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about Deos 140 Feet Down. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's a dystopian thriller with overtones of The Handmaid's Tale, action, and revenge. It's about a young survivalist woman and her family who flee apocalyptic weather to an underground shelter called Deos. Shortly after lockdown, the elders who run Deos announce that they'll breed with all fertile females aged 16 and above to repopulate the earth. So Shay knows that she's going to have to breed with a sadistic elderly man and bear his child, or fight, risking her life and the lives of those she loves most. It's dark and disturbing and hard-hitting. Both men and women enjoy it, and it has 4.5 out of 5 stars on Amazon, and it's available in all formats.
Oh, okay, awesome. So what inspired the title of this novel?
Well, that was difficult. Deos is a made-up word. It means God, and I got that from several other languages in which God is Deus, Deos without an A, and Dios. And the reason I use God is because Deos is a religious shelter run by a cult, and its floor is 140 feet underground. And I like the spelling because the vowels are in order. It's D-A-E-I-O-S.
Okay. So how did this particular story come to you?
Well, I ended up with a completely different novel than the one I'd first imagined because I did a major rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
And so at first it was a new adult dystopian fiction novel with humor. And then it just kept getting darker and darker, so I got rid of the humor, and I thought it was then a better story for adults. And I did leave my protagonist, Shay Donovan, with some snark. I wanted it to be set in the not-too-distant future so it would be recognizable to the readers. And then as a child, I was fascinated by Carlsbad Caverns, and I found this company that was building a shelter in an underground cavern in Kansas. It was once used as a military depot, so I used that idea and I moved it to the Arizona desert.
Okay. Very good. That's very unique. So what would you like your readers to take away from this particular story?
Well, most of all, I want them to be entertained,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want them to think about the direction the world is going in and what could happen to them personally and to their families. I've imagined several news topics in the near future in worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Who are some of your favorite authors that influenced your writing? Give us at least three.
Okay, well, I have to say Lee Child and his Jack Reacher series, and Suzanne Collins of the Hunger Games fame. That's where I really got involved in dystopian literature. Dennis Lehane, he writes great thrillers. I especially liked Shutter Island. And then I do want to say that I hadn't yet read The Handmaid's Tale at the time I wrote Deos, even though there are some similarities.
Okay, very good. So when did you first fall in love with writing?
Well, I started writing when I was very small. At age 7, I even wrote and illustrated a tiny little book called The Rubber Ducky, and I sold it to a neighbor for $0.25, and I kept all of my royalties.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, wow. Okay. So tell our listeners how they can learn more about you and how they can connect with you.
Well, I have a website. It's my full name, ColleenEcclesPenor.com, and I'm going to spell that. It's ColleenEcclespenor.com. While you're there, you can buy personalized copies of Deos if you'd like to. And please leave me a note through my contact form. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. A couple off questions. Do you find it hard for readers to leave reviews? Some authors that I've spoken with, they come across that, and I just kind of want to learn what your experience has been like.
Well, I've found I try to ask people to leave reviews if they tell me that they've read my book. And I found that maybe half of them do. And they all say they're going to, but only probably a half of them do. So it's not easy to get reviews, but certain people like to leave reviews. So we're lucky to get those.
Okay. Are you currently on a interview tour right now, a book tour virtually with the current state of the world?
No, I'm not right now. I'm just writing my next book.
Okay. And that was my next question. What's next for you?
Okay, well, I'm currently working on a crime fiction novel. It's got some similarities to the Killing TV series. My protagonist, Veronica, or Ronnie Doom, is a former FBI special agent. She's searching for twin teenage girls who've gone missing in a small town where a bitter coal strike is tearing the town apart. And I'm hoping that'll lead into a series about Veronica Doom.
Okay. That sounds good. I love crime. I love the crime stories. It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Well, I hope so.
Okay. So are there any authors that you would love to collaborate with?
Oh, gee. Probably, well, like I mentioned, Lee Child and Dennis Lehane, probably those two.
Okay. Awesome. Now, are you self-published or are you through a publisher?
I published it myself.
Okay. How was that experience for you?
Well, I had no idea how to do it, and so I found out from researching it on the internet and by reading a couple of books. And it is time-consuming, but it's not really difficult.
Okay. Do you see yourself pitching yourself to a publisher for a bigger audience reach, or are you comfortable? Are you satisfied with the self-publishing industry?
Well, I think on this next book, I am going to try to query it, see if I can go traditional published. But if not, I know how to self-publish, and so I'll just take it from there. Okay,
awesome. What advice would you give a new writer who is contemplating self-publishing their first book?
Well, I'd say go for it, first of all. I'd encourage them to make sure they had a good professional edit done, because that is one of the most important things you can do. And I'd tell them to get started on self-promotion as soon as they can, way before they're ready to launch the book.
Okay. For our young writers, what advice would you give our youth who are just getting started with writing their stories?
Well, I'd say just make sure that they write as often as they can, because that's how you become a good writer.
Mm-hmm.
And just to follow their dreams.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on Sisters Place podcast to tell us about Dale's 140 Feet Down. Guys, grab her new book. We will drop the link in her on our podcast page, as well as on our social media, so that you guys be sure to check her out. And again, Colleen, thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Latrice.
Oh, you're very welcome. Have a great evening.
Okay, thanks. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be sure to subscribe to Latrice's YouTube channel, Sisters Place, and follow her on all social media.